Yeah, man. Welcome back to J-Spec Engineering, and welcome to another episode of Working with Jay. Today we have my 1998 Honda Accord back in here. Last you saw this, I was doing an oil change and teaching you all how to do that using this car. Quick story time. So last night I was coming back from skating, and mind you, that skating rink that I went to was about 30 minutes from me. And on the way back, my battery light came on, the lights that indicate that the doors in the trunk are open, those came on, and the brake light came on. And before that, I saw that the lights in the gauge cluster were dim, and I was like, I don't normally dim this, so I dimmed it and then turned it back up, and it looked normal to me, but obviously it was still dimmer. Then those lights came on and they were unsteady, so I was like, shoot, looked like my alternator gone. So thankfully I had reached to the point where I was about 10 minutes from home, but I was doing my best to push it on the highway to get home and not shut off on the road. It was also about after 12 o'clock at night. So I got home, checked my battery, and while it was running, and the voltage was telling me that the battery wasn't charging, obviously. So I knew that my alternator was going. But now today I kind of came and was going to show you how to check it, which obviously you're going to use a multimeter and you're going to set it to direct current voltage. And this is a 12 volt system, so you're going to want to choose the closest thing to it, or at least right above it. In my case, it's 20 volts. And you put your positive to positive, negative to negative while it's running, and that will tell you the voltage that the battery is seeing. And you should get upwards of about 12 volts. So about 13, 14 volts that's charging. Anyways, I checked it while it was running today, and the battery was charging fine, or the alternator was charging the battery fine, which means that the alternator is intermittently failing, so that voltage regulator seems like it's just about to fail. I smelled the alternator burning last summer, so I knew it was getting ready time for me to change it, but it worked fine all through summer until the next year, which is now, and now it's starting to actually give me problems. So before I shut off on the street and get stranded, let's begin. Alright, so first thing, whenever you're dealing with an electronic work on a vehicle, anything that deals with the electric system, or electronic, you understand. The first thing you're going to want to do is disconnect the battery. Remove all power from anything that is getting it so that you don't short any fuses, any components. There's no overcurrent or anything that can happen. So first thing you're going to do is disconnect the battery. I'm going to take off the ground. Alright, now do that. Take off the ground and secure it away from the battery so that nothing is getting power. Next, I'm going to remove any of the wires that are on the alternator. One is power, one is signal. So you're going to want to remove that cover, press down on the tab on your connector and pull off. You just wiggle it off. Don't try to brute force things. And then we have a 10 millimeter right there for our power. Remove that, and then there's a tab here. Let's use a little flathead screwdriver to get the tab off, and put this this aside. Lastly, there are 3 more things, nuts and bolts, that we need to pull in order to remove the alternator. So we have the bolt the mounting bolt right here. There's a, I believe this is 10 bolt here, and then we have a 12 right where my finger is touching. I'm gonna try to pick up with the camera. I'm not sure how well I'm going to be able to see it. There it is. That bolt right underneath the pulley. That's a 12. So that's the lock for that tensioning bolt right here. So we're going to loosen that bolt first. Loosen this, and then we're going to untension the alternator, and that will give slack on our belt so we can take it off. So first, I'm going to loosen that mounting bolt for the alternator, and like I said, that was a 14. Next, I'm going to loosen the 12 that I showed you underneath the pulley for the tensioner, for the tensioning mechanism of the alternator. And then finally, we're going to loosen the 10 down here. Need a little extension. This will work. And as I loosen it, you should see it going down. Okay. And there becomes slack on the belt. Loosen it to the point where you can get the belt off of this and get the new alternator on. We don't necessarily have to remove this power steering belt because there's enough space for us to work. So finally, now that that's all full, we can remove our 14 bolt entirely and then pull the alternator out. Alright, here's what I was saying. You can get a better look at this. So we need to remove that 12 that we had gotten, the lock bolt, and then just remove the 10 entirely so we can get the alternator free. Pick out that 10 now entirely. Alright, and then you wiggle this out and there's your alternator. See there? Boom. And I have to bring this back for a core so they can rebuild it and resell it. And just for reference, here is how the tensioning mechanism is set up. This is the bracket for it. So when the alternator goes in, right, through the bottom, technically it's a mounting hole. What you're going to do is, this will be on the side, that bracket will be on the side up here, and this is the bolt that goes through the side of it. This is your tensioning bolt that adjusts where this is along this this route right there. And then finally, you put this in, and after tensioning to where you need it to be, this is what locks it. So just because I didn't show you how it looks inside the vehicle, this is for reference, so you can have a visual of what you need to do to remove it and put it back in. Then obviously we're going to put these side by side, the new and the old part, match them up, make sure that they're the same, and in my case they are the same, so we're just going to put this one right back in and finish up the job. So now we're just going to do our steps in reverse order. Okay. this in. I'm just gonna catch this top mounting bolt. Now I'm going to put in the side mounting bolt, or the bottom one, that is used to adjust this. Put this in the side. So that's in. And I can just catch the locking 12 nut. Just catch that. And finally, we'll put our adjust. After all the nuts and bolts are put where they're supposed to go, everything is downhill from here. So we're going to put our belt back on, make sure that all of its teeth are on each of the pulleys. You have your crank pulley down here, your AC pulley here, and then you have the alternator pulley right above it. Make sure everything is properly aligned. And then what we're going to do is tighten our adjustment bolt, and you'll see the alternator begin to come up and put tension on the belt. See that? Good. So the tightness of the belt, how they specify it to be, is that you should only be able to rotate the belt when it's tensioned 90 degrees. Okay. So you turn it like this, 90 degrees. That's good. I can't turn it anymore. That's good. That's about the tension you want. Sorry about the train. And after we have the alternator tightened, we'll tighten it just a little bit more. Once that's tightened, then we're going to lock all of the mounting bolts, or mounting bolt and nut. So we're just going to tighten up that 12 nut now. Alright, and then we're going to tighten up our 14. Alright, and of course, go ahead and torque it by hand. Same with the 12. Just clip this back in, put our connector back on, make sure it clicks, put the cover over it, peel back this fire protector here, and place this over the shaft, and then of course we're going to put our nut there and tighten it. This one is a 10. Cover it back. Make sure that everything is good. So belt's tight, we have the adjuster is tight, and our mounting bolt is tight. And finally we're going to put on our battery and then test to see if the alternator is charging. Right. So finally put the battery back on, turn it down. Finally we're going to start the vehicle, and with the same settings I told you before, on your multimeter you're going to use DC voltage. DC is the straight and dotted line. DC voltage, 20 volts, because this is a 12 volt system. If you have a 12 volt setting on yours, that's fine. So we're going to start this up and then we're going to check the battery just to make sure that it's charging. Alright, we're all started up. Obviously make sure everything is working on the side that you worked on. Everything is moving how it's supposed to move. And then finally we're going to check the voltage. Zoom in so you can see what the voltage is. Red to red, black to black. And we're getting 14.38 volts, meaning it's charging. Okay. That's that. Alright, well, this one was a quick one, so that's it for this video. I hope it helped somebody, and I'll see you in the next one. We'll be making some videos about this real soon, so stay tuned for that. I hope this added some value to your life. Hope this helped somebody again. And yeah, that's it. See you all in the next one. I'm out. Yeah, bless. Ooh.